What's up, P-Dog? How you doing?
Doing good, man. Another day.
What's
I
new?
was just reminiscing how last year we were all actually a group of us went to Encore to celebrate the big man's birthday. So it's been a year, and it's like, dude, it's like such a different year, and like it looks, it's also just a fucking different year.
It flies.
Yeah.
6 months of this year has just been gone, just completely just wiped out. But it's time really flies, man. But I'm just happy that I have a 2 in front of my number still. So I'm still 29. So it's all good.
No, join the club, man.
But you'll be a big 3-0 soon, man. That's good. We'll be
Yeah.
there.
Well, as I always say, you know, we as men just get better over time.
I like that. Well, it goes back to
is the right mentality too to have. Like I think every age brings us things. But what's going on with you, man? I know. Different shit.
Yeah, just still campaigning on the Kickstarter. Still figuring that out. We're over 50%. Well, actually, I think about 60% with our goal, which is pretty good. So we're just taking a different approach to campaigning, since we can't do Facebook ads, which is a huge hindrance. So what we're doing is we're just using the campaign to have it as the marketing tool. So when we call these companies, we're like, hey guys, we're live. Check us out. We're almost fully funded, and if we have that looks good, then they're just more likely to look into it and maybe believe in it more. And then we have a story to tell, and dealing with some manufacturer challenges. It's always a
relationship issues.
Not necessarily issues. Just I guess I would if I had a client, I guess I would be more customer focused. But I don't know if is that a norm in the manufacturer world, or I don't know.
I mean, I just say this on record, but like most manufacturers, they suck.
Yeah,
it's horrible, man.
Why
I produce supplements, and it's just like a shit show. They'll lie to you. They'll have things on delay. Then it's not showing up. Then they want to talk to you. Then you can't reach them. Everything's well and dandy up until you got to pay the deposit. Once the deposit is paid, the problem is like when you're a new company, all the power rests in the hands of the manufacturer. So it's a very uneven like relationship as far as like power is concerned, because like they have your entire product at their facility. So that's like a big part of it, and that's why I'm a big proponent in like your relationship with your manufacturer is going to be one of the most important things that you're going to have when you start your business. So choose wisely. And the other part of this as well I've noticed is that a lot of people, when they have just a good relationship set up, they're not willing to upgrade. There's like, oh man, no, this person, like they've just done a good job. Yeah, we've had issues before, with just like stick to it. I don't agree with that. It's this concept people have, I have a bad relationship, but they cook for me now and then. They're kind of nice. I'll just stick to it. Yeah. No, do not. If it's not perfect, leave. And the same thing with manufacturers too. I know so many people, they hit me up too for help consulting, this and that, and they don't want to leave their manufacturer. I'm like, you got to leave your manufacturer. As your business increases, your demand increases, your needs change in your life. And as your needs change, everything needs to upgrade, including the relationships you have with people and your standards. So I'm a very big proponent. I actually bounce around with a lot of manufacturers, and at times when we produce our supplements, like here with Azith, I have 3-4 manufacturers that I work with on like given runs. Right. Some manufacturers I give this, the other manufacturer another part, because number one, I don't want all the power to rest with one player. That's too scary for me. And the other part is like at some point I just want to upgrade, and that's like totally fine. I have no problem doing that. But man, you got to vet those people. I remember when I started, man, like it's a nightmare. You were here actually 2 years ago, and I was struggling with manufacturers. I was like, oh man, I was super worried. I was like, dude, my product is not coming. What's going on? They're not talking to me. They don't pick up my calls, and it was, no more of that shit, man.
Did you ever win that case or what?
I did, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I can't talk much about it, but I got a real settlement from it.
That's good.
And the point being, though, is like you got to always demand more, but also just tell them up front like what you're expecting in the relationship. Is like, hey man, I want to work with you. These are the things I need. So I have with my manufacturer, I need to talk to you once a week.
Yeah.
It's like, if we run stuff, I just want to talk to you once a week. Every Friday, put it in your Google Calendar, we're talking. We can talk about Call of Duty. We can talk about the weather. We can talk about COVID, or I don't care. We're just talking.
Yeah.
And I do that with all my vendors. We do a once a week check-in. Whether we're actually doing anything that week or not, it doesn't matter. It's just an automatic thing, because communication is the hardest thing these days. We all have a cell phone, email, web, but they can't communicate. People suck at getting back with you, and it's like, dude, we live in an age of like communication.
Yeah.
And you can't get back to me. What's the problem?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's probably because it's so easy to get back to someone. It's like, oh, I'll do it later.
Right.
So that's probably what it is. Yeah. But you've told us many times, and other people have told us many times, that you have to have a few options.
Always.
And actually, it's so funny. I'll tell a story. We went to the convention when conventions were still happening in January, And I guess John was talking to someone about exploring different manufacturing options.
Right.
And the guy, our manufacturer, was standing right behind us. And he you know, after that, the guy approached me. He's like, "Hey, let's go for a walk." I'm like, "Hey, what's up? How's it going?" He told me, like, "Oh, so I hear you're going to Georgia or something, or wherever it was." And I'm like, "That's really weird. We just literally got off the phone with this other person an hour before. How do you know?" And anyways, I was so shook. I was like, "How did you find out about that?" Anyways, but then later on, I was really shook the whole day. I was like, how did he know? Did he have insight, intel, whatever? But later on, I was like, you know what? That's a power move. Because what if I would have been like, yeah, we're shopping around.
Yes.
Then what?
Yeah.
Because then he would have been like, what do you really say to that? So I was just like, you just have to have your options open, and you have to. It's literally shopping, keeping your options open.
Yeah, and you know, in every relationship, power plays a central role. We don't want to talk about it, but it does. And I always say, the person who can walk away the easiest from the relationship is the person who holds all the power. And that is true. Yeah. And as you're growing in your new company, you want to work with your manufacturer. You just got one person said, yes, I'll do it for you. And now they have all the leverage over you because you can't walk away from that relationship. Yeah. So your goal always is in life, if you get better, get stronger, get wealthier, you can walk away from more relationships. Now, it doesn't mean that you should, but it means you have the option to. And when you have the option to walk away from any relationship possible, watch people change. And you know, and that's and a lot of people are big enough, but they don't deploy that strategy properly. I'm a very big believer in strategy, negotiation. How do we talk to people? Like, what kind of strategies can we use to get the most out of it? As a CEO of a company, my biggest role is to get our prices down, to get competitive prices, and to work with every single vendor that's involved in manufacturing products. Whether I'm actually doing a supplement space or whether I'm in the real estate space, I got to get all the material. I'm dealing with so many subcontractors. I need to get the best prices no matter what. And that's my job as a CEO. Yeah. So I'm always looking at what's the strategy here? Where is their leverage? Where can I add more stuff? And so if you go straight into negotiation, you haven't thought about what you're going to say, you're going to lose. Yeah. And that's a big part of it too, man. But power is a very central part of like every negotiation. Yeah. And so you got to think about where does power rest. Yeah, it's a very good point to know, because you don't know how much power you really have until you say something and then you see the reaction. One time, when I got on the phone with a guy, and I was like, you know what, maybe we really shouldn't be in business together after all. And then he just saw that I didn't mean to say that, but it just came out, and you should have just. His response was so accommodating in that case, because, I mean, I guess it was a little preview of what power could do. But yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize that they. But what is power also really? Let's go delve, because this is an enlightened millennial topic, and I've analyzed what's power. Leverage. Yeah, and how do we get leverage? Because I agree with you. Knowledge. Yeah, knowledge. And one thing too, I think, is options. And I think options is the biggest reservoir of power that exists, because the more options you have, the easier it is for you to walk away from any situation. And that is just factual. So if you build a life full of options, I work with a manufacturer, he's dicking me around, bye-bye, I'm out, go to the next one. I'm in a relationship and some person is just dicking around, and like, whether it's girl, whatever it is, bye, see you tomorrow, never again. Yep. And you can walk away from every situation. That to me is where power broken comes in. And so you need to always build, my goal always is, how do I build a life full of options? Not for me own personally, but for my business. If I want my business to scale, I need to have options. I need to have 10 manufacturers. I need to have X amount of SKUs. Like, I need to have more products. I need to have more of everything so I can diversify and I have more options available to me. And that's why wealthy people have a diversification of their portfolio. Because if one thing goes, no problem, I got something else. No problem, I got something else. And I think that kills desperation, because desperation kills, so you gotta kill desperation. Desperate people are weak people because you're desperate because you got no options. You know, we all know the guys, we're going out, all they want to do is hit on shit every moment. They get like so depressed. Oh my gosh, who cares? Yeah. Like, if you're a person, is like, dude, okay, not her, then her. Not that person. I don't care. Okay, bye. You don't want to talk? Then that person. Yeah. You don't have desperation, and you don't care because you got so much option. Confidence. Right, but confidence comes from option. That's my belief. So building a life for yourself where you have options, and like money is a way of having options. And there's many other things you can have. Network is a way of having more options, but also for your business. Then, as you as a co-founder of Flickr right now, is like, guys, I don't want to ever be in a situation where like one manufacturer is late and now all of our customers are waiting. My Kickstarter is going to be a disaster if a manufacturer can't. Fuck that manufacturer. I'm going to have 10 of you guys. I talk to 10 manufacturers at all times. We know that. in that works. So that manufacturer that's like trying to play power games with you, be like, yeah, man, I'm shopping around and I'm talking to 10 other people at the same time. You got a problem with that? You know, same thing with girls. You want to have an solution? No, I'm talking to 20 other girls at the same time. You have a problem with it,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
that's the kind of attitude I think that helps when it comes to negotiation, having options available to you.
Yeah.
And it comes with time, and it comes with success, but that should be a KPI for your business. And I think that's always been a personal KPI of mine. How do I build as much options as possible for every single thing that we do? And that's really important.
It's a learning thing too, because not everybody knows that. Like nobody knows like, oh, I need 10 of these, or just the options will make you feel better either way. It's also what money is. It's just having
yes,
that's what it is. The more like wealth you have saved up, the more options you have down the line, and it's just a cycle, man. And it's part of the learning curve, and it's the same thing with revenue streams, and
100%.
like just having
That's
multiple.
exactly what I was saying. Yep.
Even in this Corona era, like I have.
Yes, exactly.
Although
you're a great example of it.
Although I mean my revenue streams are maybe not as strong as yours, I still have.
Yes, you have options.
I have 3 revenue streams,
Yes.
which is amazing because I'm not one of the ones that are struggling. And
yeah. So what if like one of the places that you get your revenue stream from is like, hey, sorry, we can't have you anymore. You're like, oh man, that sucks. But are you gonna be like desperate to your boss? No, I'd be like, okay, man, it's too bad. Bye, thank you.
Absolutely.
Why? Because you can. Because you created a life full of options for yourself.
Yeah.
And you did that for yourself. You made that happen, man. So like when coronavirus hits, a lot of people are like, man, please don't fire me, don't do this, and they'll start. It's okay, man.
Yeah, I can't imagine, dude.
Right?
People at the restaurant, they're not going back until end of July, and they just.
Yeah, it's gonna take a while, man.
It's unemployment ending. I heard, right? Something like this.
Yeah, there's all types of government programs going to be starting to phase out. Of course, the country can't pay for all this stuff for like forever, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think that's like I love that you gave that example, and I love you can share that on here because you built that during this podcast that we've been doing for the past 2 years. You've built all those revenue streams here for yourself. Whether it's through Green Solution, it's the moving company, whether it's Flickr, whether it's your own personal stuff that you're doing, all the side hustles you have. And like that's the kind of stuff that we promote on this show. And
Absolutely.
the reason why is so that you have options available. So when shit hits the fan, you're okay.
I just love how we're just living example of this. It's
Yeah,
2 years ago, and then just here, and we were sitting here exactly 2 years ago. And I don't know if anybody's watching this, but it was exactly here. I was like, man, how do you do this?
Yes,
like,
yes.
I was like, what is it that you exactly need to do? I think I might even wear the same shirt. I'm not sure.
No, possible. Yeah.
Maybe, but and I never forget my graduation. In I think it was 2014. I was still in The Hague at the time. And the dean, they asked everybody if they had one lasting dream or one like goal or ambition, what would you go for? And I really had to think about it for like it pressured 5 seconds. Like, you know what? I would love to be my own boss. And that was in 2014. And I think amongst everything, that's probably been my biggest accomplishment. It's just to be like, all right, I'm more or less on my own now. And that it just feels amazing just to have that control. And you work. I mean, people listening to this, and you already know, like it's hard work. And it's you'd rather work 80 hours for yourself than to have to work 40 hours for someone else.
Many of us, yeah, for sure.
It just feels amazing, and I'm happy we can share this on the show.
Yeah, no, it's all very good things, and there's been a lot of like key takeaways, I think, right? And so, what else have you feel like you want to share, man, that you've learned from this experience? And I ask you because you're going through like turbulent times, and I know like one of the topics that actually came to me, and I want to add if you got any input to this, in addition to maybe what you've gotten, but I've opened up some Q&A that I do once a week now. It got too much. I started doing it every day, and it was just like bleeding through the questions.
No, I can imagine.
So now I'm doing it once a week, and I reference like EM quite a bit in those. And so, people ask about how do you form resilience, and like what is that, and especially during this time, like what should you be strong? Like how should you be strong? How do you face these challenges when tough times happen? So I want to hear from you, man. Like, I'm assuming over time, as you start a business, you gotta be ready. You're gonna be punched in the face all the fucking time, like all the time. And you're like, dude, I just keep going.
Fees and legal issues.
Yeah, but things are gonna happen wrong. You're gonna be like, I set this goal, totally gonna go miss. You have this idea, totally gonna be shit. It's just not gonna work over and over and over again. So like, how do you form that resilience so you can keep going? Like, what is it that you feel like you have that maybe others people don't have? What makes Teflon Leandro?
So, I like that. Well, I mean, you just for me, it's like. Perfect example is our Kickstarter video. The day before, we literally deleted half of it. So I wanted to die. I had a little preview of what it was like, just to like, you know what, fuck this, I'm done. But then in that very moment, you start thinking about like what you have.
Good thing you had experience with EM.
So. Right. No, I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, we had to like get everybody together and do it again.
Yeah. No, for sure.
But you just at the moment, I thought about what resources I have, like right here, right now, at the present moment that I can work with, that I can just kind of
Right.
I can just fix it on the spot, like put a Band-Aid on it. You know, I don't know. Just you think of life and certain situations as like I think of micro, macro. You zoom in on a problem and then you zoom back out.
Right.
So at the very moment, I had a huge issue with that, you know, that challenge, and I was just so close to the problem. But then I saw the bigger picture. You zoomed out, and I was like, okay, in the bigger picture, how big of a problem is this really? It's not that big of a problem. So I think a lot of us, whenever we're faced with an issue, or if you opened up
Very
your
good.
business or something like that, and something happens, like where you're just hit with $1,000 fee, or if you, I don't know, something happens, you lose customers, you lose whatever. You're just so focused on that issue, but then they're stuck on it. They're stuck on that problem. Whereas it's very good to zoom out and be like, all right,
Yes, I love
let me
that.
take a step back and be like, all right, how big of a problem is that really? Can I get those 10 customers back, or how quickly can I fix this problem? Can I get all the people together so I can do it again? And once you go through that, like we did it, we had to record everything on the fly. We had to do the editing and do all that crazy shit. And then afterwards, you're like, oh shit, we actually really did this in 48 hours all over again. And then you just build resilience. It's a scar.
Yeah.
And now you have scar tissue, and it's even stronger.
I love that, man. This is gonna be a good, really good
snippet.
snippet here, right here. But it's perfect, man. I love it. But you know, and I think a big part of this is also when you say zooming out, actually zooming out. I always think of it like, look at a browser in your computer, like have many tabs open. Like when you're in a tab, like there's so much fucking shit. Like actually take your mouse and like zoom out of a photo, and then that photo is tiny.
Yep.
And then that's how you should do it. Actually make a visual picture of you going with a mouse and zooming out of a window.
Yep.
And that really is like a big part of it. But you know, facing issues and facing problems, that's just part of like what happens. Like being part of a leader of a company is being able to like taking hits for everyone else.
Absolutely.
All the time. It's like what a good parent, they will go through a lot of shit in their life to raise their children, and the children will probably never know all the shit they had to do to raise you.
Yeah.
And that's like part of it. Like being a good CEO is like you just take the hits, and you're the first line of defense and the first person right up front, you know, and you're gonna get hit first, and you take that punch for your team, and that's why you also get the glory at the end, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's a big proponent of it.
Well, leadership is just people listening to this, and I don't know where you are with your leadership understanding, and if you really want to be a leader, don't you always notice that you can always notice a leader in the room, right?
Sure.
You always notice that this whenever that person speaks, people listen to them, and it's just, I don't know, man. It's hard to explain, but
No, those are interpersonal psychology dynamics, and they're totally true. And it's from a way a person carries themselves, and also you know that person is going to take care of and like people want to be around that because they're showing some sort of strength and some sort of like confidence, and you're like, dude, where is this coming from? I want to be part of that. Like shine that light to me too. And I think that's really important. And you know, I think of it as like three ways, right? There's like a bunch of different ways about how to become more resilient. And you know, there's like, I go to the post office a lot of times, and like the first thing when I go to the post office, I have a little mailer, and the person at the USPS asks me, is there anything fragile, like world? And if I say yes, there's a glass in there, what happens? He takes a huge ass sticker and puts on there, fragile. Everyone knows you're fragile. Everyone knows it's fragile. Everyone knows it can break easily. It's just a fragile little thing, okay? Then you have another thing, and like, you know what? I'm not gonna put a glass in here. I'm gonna take a rock from down there, put it in here, and I give it to the post office. I don't have to put a fragile sticker on there because you don't have to handle it with care. Just destroy it, I don't give a shit. It's rock. Okay. So there's two types of things people do. Either people are super fragile, like snowflakes, and they just can't handle shit, and everyone in the room knows you're a weak person. You're gonna get destroyed. And then there's other people who compensate for that, and they're just like rocks. You're like, dude, bring it in, I don't care, beat me around. Okay. I have a third way about what I think about, and my third way always is not being fragile, not being like a rock, but being anti-fragile. So anti-fragile is like, I put something in this mailer, but I write on there anti-fragile. Do not handle with care. The less care that you handle it, the stronger I will become. Throw it on the floor, throw it on the seat, throw it outside the window, stomp on it. Rock you can throw, nothing will happen to it, but an anti-fragile object will become stronger, just like the Hydra. You know, Hydra, you cut off a head and another head comes and another head comes. So the goal always that you should have in your mind is, how do I form anti-fragile teams who get stronger with every type of adversity? Just like the Hydra, you cut off a head, another head comes. And we don't do that often. We have two types of mentality people. One is like, dude, I'm like, I can't, everything's offensive. I don't want,
out.
I can't have this like, this thing on this package on cereal, it's racist. Everything's offensive. And then there's other types of people like, dude, I don't give a fuck, man. Yeah, you this, and you talk loudly, you make a big deal out of everything, and you're just like super aggressive. And then there's a third type of people who are like, dude, I'm anti-fragile. You understand?
Yeah.
And that's what we need to build, anti-fragility. And I'm a big proponent of that. How do we build anti-fragile teams? How do we ourselves become anti-fragile? Because shit's gonna happen. And you can't just deal with everything being aggressive and being like this kind of aloof leader who's like, I don't care, man. You have a lot of those leaders, like, dude, but you're not a leader, you know? Just because you're aggressive and you're strong and you're big and you're 200 pounds, I get that, man. I see a lot of these people, but like, you're not a leader. So I want a leader who says, look, I'm gonna be with you in the trenches and we're gonna take hits, but every time a fucking hit comes, I'm gonna be strong, or we add another head. And so how do we build that? And that's something that I think about a tremendous amount, and I hope our listeners start thinking about that, becoming anti-fragile. And there's a book actually about this by Mr. Taleb, and he talks about anti-fragility. But I'm taking this concept now and applying it to business, applying it to personal development. So if you had shit happen in your life, the opposite is, I'm gonna be a fucking asshole that everyone just burn, right? And so my concept is, don't do that. That's not doing anything. Be a person who actually grows from that adversity, is not afraid from that, and grows every single time. Anti-fragility is what I look for in teams, amongst other things, because shit happens in business every day. Every day there's a fire to put out. Like, I can't explain. Like, the bigger your business gets, the bigger your problems get. I have so many problems, dude. I can't imagine. Dude, I was just like, I don't know. What else is there? Like, some days I'm like, is there anything else that can happen today? Or because there's so much shit happening and so much money involved and people and this and that. I'm like, guys, like, what else is going to happen? You know? But you grow stronger. Are you growing stronger for it, or are you becoming bitter from it? Or are you becoming, I don't want anything to do with it, I'm just like, fuck this shit. You know?
Yeah, you know what it is too? I mean, everybody can handle, everybody is capable of handling that type of like stress or level of intensity, but I don't think people are willing to handle the responsibility that comes along with it.
100%.
So I think that's where that's why people are like, you know what, I'm good, I don't want that. Because I've been there too. Sometimes like, man, is this really worth it? Like, but I mean, if you really want to progress in life, that's the only way. You have to turn up the volume on your own life in a way, and take the responsibility. And
and it's just hard work every day. Every minute counts. What am I doing? Am I doing this? Am I making content? Am I email? Like, there's just no breaks. Like what I said 2 years ago when we were going hard on this, I was like, man, I'm working hard. Like, now it's just like, at some point I was like, I don't know, dude. Like, I'm just gonna beat around left and right, and it's just like part of the process. And I have to always step in and like, okay, I gotta take control of my day, because at this point, with the rate, like, I'm growing with my business all of a sudden right now, which I wouldn't say it's all of a sudden because it took a while to get there.
Yeah.
It's just like, there's so much happening at such a fast pace. Even myself being very fast, even I have to make sure that I retain control of it, because it just happens. Some days I wake up and I'm like, dude, I'm just reacting the whole day. The morning I had a big problem, a shipment didn't arrive. I'm like, okay, now I'm just reacting. I was like, fuck, I have no control of it anymore. And so no matter how much of a self-development you are, and a lot of people watching this right now, I was like, yeah, man, I agree, Prady. Fuck yeah, man, I agree. I'm like this too.
Yeah.
I said this 2 years ago, but even now I can say back 2 years ago, I still, you have to keep developing yourself. And one of the things we talked about at Seaport. What gets you here in life, is not going to get you there. It's just a fact. So you gotta work on your stuff, and it's just a never-ending thing. And you can fall from grace.
You will fall.
Yeah, but you can be very successful and become a loser also. People forget about that. They think that, dude, I'm the man. I'm the fucking what? You can lose all of it. Yeah. You can lose all the glory, all the fame. Look at how many celebrities and athletes I was like top, and I don't know where's Ronaldinho? I don't know where this boy is. Like, gone. Like, where are all these people? Yeah. So you can actually fall from being the biggest superstar in the world. So you have to maintain that shit aggressively, ruthlessly, every single day. And we don't talk about that. We talk about what it takes to get there, and that's about it. But like, how do you maintain?
Very true.
And that's tough. And I think we're both going to be in that process, because now you're adding more revenue streams, you're getting better, mind sharper, you read more, but now you got to maintain that shit every day, and that's tough.
Yeah, it's just the sustainability of it all. It's gotta keep going. I mean, remember a couple of years ago, you were like, you know, your net worth is just simply increasing every year because you're doing this. If you're playing your cards right, you're doing everything right, and you should, if you are doing everything right, you should be increasing your net worth. That's your mental capacity, your physical, keep in shape. I mean, it's all these things play a role in it, you know, and that's what people have to remember.
Yeah.
So.
At the end of the day, it's hard work though.
It is hard work, but it's at the end, it's worth it. I like being here in 2020 in the summer, where it's falling apart. Everything's falling apart for everybody, or I mean not for everybody, but for the most part. But we're still. I'm stable, man. I'm pretty good. I think you're pretty good too.
Yeah.
You know.
God's grace. Yeah. So doing okay, man. And but yeah, you know, it's funny because like we started this podcast 2 years ago, and I feel like a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about have led to a culmination of like this year. Like all the skill sets that we've talked about, all the things you should watch out for like the recession, the economy's been good, and we talked about this all the time. Diversify your income. Make sure you have a side hustle. Make sure that if you get kicked out from your job, you have something. Like, this is stuff we've been preaching from day one.
Absolutely.
Every single episode. In 2020, as we reignited our season, after a little bit of a hiatus from October till March, look where we are. And look where we are, right? And so all these things have actually materialized. So I feel like that's very important. I feel that's good in a way because I know that when people listen to us, they're like, you're getting something out of it. And while I know a lot of times I'm listening to podcasts, I'm like, man, I'm listening for entertainment. I'm not getting shit out of it.
Right.
From EM, I guarantee you, like, I'll put money down on this. If you listen to everything that Leo and I are telling you every fucking time, you will get something out of it. There's a reason we make a post after a really long time and people comment like, oh man, where you guys been? Where's this happened? And that's the kind of stuff. And the reason why is because it makes a difference, and that's what I never want to be entertainment for people. I want to be educational, and in a way that inspires people to do some shit. Absolutely. And that's what I hope to do with EMN. That's why I'm passionate about it. You know?
Same here with Flickr or with Azith. You hope to inspire someone to do something with their life. And I think people have had all this time, and I think a lot of people are away from their jobs, and you're like, you know what? I don't want to go back to my job. I want to do cook. I want to do art. And I think a lot of people are starting to, hopefully, fingers crossed, that they're doing their own thing. And you need to have multiple sources of income in this day and age. Yeah. And it's easier. It's the easiest time to do so.
We talked about the gig economy actually in Washington Street. And we talked about it. We were in the lounge, and I started talking about how things have changed. Back in the day was property and gig economy.
Yeah.
This is it. This is what I was talking about. This is all playing out right now. And do some takeaways. I mean, I feel like we are seeing a silver lining to the end of like COVID, hopefully. Yeah, there's places where cases are increasing, but that's already decreasing. Places are opening up, and we are pretty aggressively opening up here. So I feel very positive, like we have been since March. So things are going to open up, and in no time, we'll all be back to normal, going out, getting drinks, and it's going to be good by the end of the year, and we're going to be good. But don't forget, because as humans, we forget. When we go through shit times also, we forget those really easily. People actually block out really bad times in their life. Of
course, yeah.
And I get it. It's a survival mechanism. Because there's a lot of guilt involved, and it's like, dude, you don't want to think about your guilt all the time. But think about this, and think about how you don't want to be in that situation ever again. And I think that's really important.
Absolutely.
To have that in your mind about a couple of things we talked about here, but building good leadership, having options open, and number third, I'm preaching to people, and I'm saying that we're preaching because I think that's what it is. It's talking about being anti-fragile. Very important, which means it's something else than just being not fragile. So, very important. How do we build strength? What do we do with leadership? And I hope that we can talk about that more over the next few months, man. Like, what does leadership mean to you now that you are in such a leadership role, and people listen to you, and that's really important, man.
Absolutely. I can't wait. This is second half of 2020 going in now, man. Let's go to Yvonne sometime again, huh?
Dude, I can't wait till Yvonne's episode. Dude, I cannot wait.
Let's go to Yvonne.
I hope they don't go broke by the time they'll
be fine.
Dude, I'll be pissed if they close.
No, they probably got a nice little settlement check from the government. So.
Yes, I do hope so, because that's the place. How are our friends, man? How's it moving?
Everybody's good. People are working even more now. Like people who like working or who are working.
But even if you work in an office, you get work from home, dude. It's crazy. I was talking to my sister. She's like, I work all the time because like you have no free time because you're not going to work, driving to work, so you just have to work all the time. Yeah, it's pretty brutal.
Yeah. I mean, you can get in that state of flow a bit easier, I believe. Yeah. And I can't imagine going back to. I don't know. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
What a message for. You're gonna watch this. So actually, I'm gonna say something. We love you guys. We do this for you.
Absolutely.
But we are also humans, and there is a self-interested motivation we have for doing EM. And I can only speak for myself. I'd like to document what my thoughts are so I can improve, and I want to look at this back 10, 15 years from now. I've got a whole fucking hard drive full of shit. Yeah. And I can show that to my son, grandkids, say, look, that was me back into like 50, 80 years ago. Look at the shit I was talking about with my brother. And so one message, 29 years old, man. I'm gonna keep this video I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna send it to you. And I want this message, for your younger self, older self, whatever. Just what message do you have? 29.
Too many thoughts running through my mind, man. Keep striving. Strive to be the best version of yourself. A lot of, I'm not the first person who says this, but a lot of people die without realizing a big part of their potential. And I think that, everybody has the capacity to develop themselves to a point where they can just become more valuable. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to, every day, you know what my biggest fear is? I don't want my parents to die and without me giving them the house that I want to give them, you know what I mean? And I feel like it's up to me to really start to get to that point where I can like, you know what, Mom, here's my bank account, I'll give you this house, and then after that I can die. There are three things. I can die when I get my Rolls Royce, I can die when I get my mom my house, and if I see aliens before I die, then I can die too. That's all I gotta say.
I gotta get a ride in that Rolls, man.
I
You
know
owe that to me.
Absolutely, yeah, for a fact. But you just try and be kind to each other. It's not that hard. It's really not that difficult.
Big takeaway from like all the shit's been going on recently.
Yeah.
Man. So good episode.
Absolutely.
We're gonna keep doing these. We got a nice little setup. As we can, it is Boston, so we don't have the privilege of having the nicest weather full year round. So whenever we can, we're going to do more stuff like this outside.
Absolutely.
And I really like that. And I got a new spot for us next week, which we're going to do.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's going to be a lot of fun. And all right, guys, well, stay tuned. If you guys have any questions, you can actually text it in 29071 and text in EM or EM podcast. Questions you may have for Lee or I. Want to learn more about Flickr, the Kickstarter campaign, whatever question, just text it in. And we will talk to you over there directly.
Learn some of Prady's little secret hacks to life, secret habits. You should come up with a book, man. I'm waiting for that book sometime soon.
Yeah, I've thought about it now. I do weekly like Saturdays usually. I do a Q&A, and I have people text it into me. And yeah, they've been great. And we got a lot of people actually listen to EM. So that's awesome. Yeah, you guys have questions, you can ask me directly. One of those days, we're going to do a live again on Instagram and see if...
Absolutely.
I actually want to see when the podcast garage opens up. We got to go back.
Yeah, we should meet some people there. See if maybe we can cross-promote each other or something.
Yes.
Or,
No, big point. All right, guys. Well,
take care. Stay enlightened. Be enlightened. Good show.